We got. All right, mic check 1, mic 2. If you are watching this live stream back on replay, take advantage of the chapters and skip ahead to the start of the show. I'm still setting up and giving people some time to tune in. All right, guys, we already starting off with some technical difficulties. All right. So that's why I'm like 2 or 3 minutes late from starting at 10:55, but I'm here. We're going to figure this out and we're going to get it going. All right, let's get the chat set up. My lips dry. Portfolio performed well today. If you didn't check out that live stream I did for the weekly recap live on Sunday, shame on you, because I talked about this then. Guys, I'm a firm believer that the information technology sector is overheated. I've been saying it for the last 2 weeks. Can't time the top, can't time the bottom, but you can figure out, hey, it is overvalued. It's overvalued. So those big leaders are starting to come down. It looks like the money is rotating into some other sectors. We're going to talk about that tonight because it's revealing itself from the new thing we started doing with using the rotation tracker tool, following the money. All right. So what I'm doing now, I'm checking to see if my chat's stuff is all set up and all of that good stuff. So we got X going. Yep. We got all of that. Do a test chat. We got that going. Okay, cool. Delete that. Double check this. Okay, looking good. We got our lights. Yes, we do. All right. And the first thing we're looking at is the company we're covering tonight for earnings. So let me put that up on the chart. And we're going to do a few things new tonight. So you're in for a treat with that. Also, I want to address something. Last live stream, I kept saying one of the tickers wrong. I kept saying DLTR. It was DTR. You could clearly see it, but I kept saying the wrong thing. That was that. Also, the camera overheated. So we have a backup plan tonight. Give me 1 second. I'm going to pull up the chart so you don't see me standing up to check this camera, but I need to check something. Okay, cool. All right. Put this back up. Not earnings. This. All right. Just in case the camera overheats, guys, I need to set this backup button up because right now it's not set right. So let me take care of this. So what we're going to do, I know it looked crazy, guys. I'm working on it. Give me 1 second. Canon main mask. Okay, so I need to open this up. And then we go here. We go to transform, edit transform, -310. All right, so I'll go here. I hope you guys had an awesome day in the market. 9. Yeah, guys, it's not looking like it's gonna act right with this. I can try this 971 and see if it makes a difference, but I'm not sure if it will. If it doesn't, we'll cross that bridge when we get there. So transform 97. Yeah, it's already here. But some strange reason it's just not positioned correctly. So I'm gonna just take that off for right now. If we cut the camera on, that doesn't reset the size. No, it doesn't. Let me try something. If I go here, so we do transform, copy transform, then go here, transform, paste transform. There we go. That was easy. All right, so we got the backup camera set up just in case the main camera overheats. All right, so we can cut that off. All right, so we got that. Now we can go to the main camera. We got that set up. Like I said, if it acts up, then we got to back up. Okay, now I need to check to make sure this one is right. I know you can't see me. We checking something. I just cut it on. Yeah, this is not right at all. Got me zoomed in crazy. Let me fix this one real quick so we'll have the backups ready, okay? So we go here, the prompter, transform, copy transform, go here, transform. Wait a minute, it won't allow. Oh, it's locked. That's why. All right, transform, paste, transform. There we go. All right. So we got the backup camera set up. I can cut this off, cut that off. All right, we're good. Just in case the cameras overheat. Now I know I need to do that moving forward. I won't do that during live stream, but we're good, guys. We can go ahead and get started with the show. Let me make sure I got this stuff set up. Okay, Constellation Brands, we good here. Got this on, got that on. All right, I believe we're good. Let me go ahead and cut the phone off so it won't be going off during the live stream. You can hear me and all of that. And I moved some of these buttons around, guys. So since I moved some of these buttons around, it may take a minute to do the transitions between different things we're going to use and we're going to do tonight. But over time, I'll start to memorize it because there was some changes that I needed to make. Okay, so here we go. Welcome to Market Recap Live. I'm your host, Joseph Martin, and thank God. Oh, thank God it's Wednesday. It's Wednesday, guys. And tonight we're taking a look at ticker STZ. You might know them better as Constellation Brands. Constellation Brands Incorporated was founded in 1945 by Marvin Sands, with the first office opening in Canandaigua. I knew I was going. Ooh, man, I'd rather spell it. Canandaigua. I think that's how you pronounce it. Canandaigua. Yeah, so I'm gonna spell it Canandaigua, New York. All right. Now they're publicly traded on the New York Stock Exchange and have a market value over 20 billion. Yes, that's billion dollars. Constellation Brands are in the beverages industry in the consumer staples sector, and they are listed in the S&P 500 index. Some of Constellation Brands competitors are Anheuser-Busch InBev, ticker BUD, and Molson Coors Beverage Company, ticker TAP. We're going to review Constellation Brands earnings, their website, and pull up the charts to perform a quick technical analysis. But before we do that, let's do our roll call and check our stream poll. We are streaming live on YouTube, Facebook, and X. Let's get this chat going and tell us where you're tuning in from. Put a Y in the chat if you're tuning in from YouTube, F for Facebook, and an X for X. While you guys are filling up the stream and the chat, here's the mission statement. We are building a community over here for people who want to take control of their financial situation by learning how to unlock the wealth building power of the stock market. And we are streaming Monday through Friday following trading sessions at 11 p.m. Eastern time. The U.S. stock market regular trading hours are 9:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern time. And there's a link for the New York Stock Exchange. Wait a minute. There's a link for the New York Stock Exchange calendar down in the description. Okay, let's get to it. Let's get to these earnings, guys. Bam, 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 and bam. See, I got it. I got it. Here we go. Constellation Brands, ticker symbol STZ, the $23.5 billion company reported its first quarter earnings on Tuesday, June 30th. They have a 52-week high of $178.14, which took place on July 23rd, and a 52-week low of $126.45 that occurred on November 10th, which is a trading range of $51.69. And they closed today at $136.88. Constellation Brands earnings report beat on the top line, reporting revenue of $2.6 billion, which was higher than the market expectations of $2.4 billion And they beat on the bottom line as robust shipment growth and enhanced overhead cost absorption within the core beer portfolio significantly expanded segment profit margins. EPS was higher than the analyst and market expectations of $3.25 when they reported an adjusted EPS of $3.43. Constellation Brands reported a GAAP net income of $653.8 million, which was higher than the $516.1 million net income they reported this same quarter last year. This represents an increase of 26.6%. So for the first fiscal quarter of 2026, their net profit was approximately 21% lower than it is compared to now a year later. The earnings were released after the market closed, followed by an 8 a.m. Eastern Time conference call the following day. As far as guidance, management reaffirmed its full year comparable earnings per share outlook of 11.20. Wait a minute. Earnings per share outlook of $1.20 to $11.90. I'm gonna clean that up because that should have been worded a different way. But let me say that one more time. As far as guidance, management reaffirmed its full year comparable earnings per share outlook of $11.20 to $11.90. That 52-week low compared to today's closing of $136.88 represents an increase of 8.3% over a span of approximately 8 months. So if someone invested $1,000 in November at that 52-week low of $126.45, they would be seeing a gain of $82.50. Woo! We did that, guys. Now let's go ahead and move on. Let's talk about why we visit these company websites. We're looking at the visuals and text to find answers to these key questions. What goods and or services does the company sell? How important are those goods and services to their customers? What makes this company stand out from the competition? And how well do they take care of their employees? We look for those answers in 4 main areas: the homepage for goods and or services, about us for purpose, vision, and mission statements, careers for employee benefits and opportunities, and investor relations for SEC filings and stock quotes. And for your convenience, all companies featured in tonight's live stream are down in the description. Now let's go visit Constellation Brands website. Here we go. Bam, bam, bam. Guys, we on a roll tonight. Ooh, I'm feeling it. All right, we're on their website. And I'm looking for the cursor because it's kind of hard to see. It's a lot going on. Let me change the color of the cursor. Tonight we're going to use yellow. No, it's not working, guys. It's not letting me change the color of the cursor. There you go. It just changed. Took a minute. I don't even know if that's easier to see. Maybe blue. Can we do blue? Why is this? Okay, yeah, we're going to do blue. All right, Constellation Brands, our story, about us, leadership, got it. They're different brands, careers, investors. All right, so we're going to browse over this homepage. Here's about us right here, learn more. So we're going to browse over the homepage and then we're going to click those 3 links: about us, brands, careers, and investors. Worth reaching for. Here's their mission right here. Our mission. Over the past 80 years, our mission has set us apart. It propels us forward at every level to think bigger, be more agile, and deliver more. We push boundaries with a passion that allows us to provide more for our customers, shareholders, employees, and the communities where we live and work. And then they have their story link right there. And you can pause that video that's playing in the background. The portfolio, different brands that you love. They talk about, is that mission the same? Our mission is to build a brand. Yeah, this is different. Let's read it. Our mission is to build brands that people love. Learn more about our iconic portfolio that's driving industry-leading growth today and get a glimpse into what trends are informing the brands we're building for tomorrow. So featured, they have beer, wines, and spirits. So Modelo, Corona, Kim Crawford, Mi Campo, High West. Let me click on these other ones. So that's the beers. Here are the wines. And here are the spirits. Okay. So a compelling value proposition. So this is them at the New York Stock Exchange. Is that when they first went public? Yes, since our public listing over a half a century ago. Newsroom, reach new heights. All right. So we're at the bottom of the page. So you got careers, investors, brands. We already looked at brands, so we're good there. So let's go ahead and go to About Us, learn more. Ideas worth reaching for, a legacy of pushing boundaries. I'm not going to read all that, guys. Links to the websites are down in the description. You can check that out. Here's our vision. There we go. Worth reaching for. We push boundaries with a passion that allows us to provide more for consumers, shareholders, employees, and the communities where we live and work. Our mission, build brands that people love. We're in the business of creating new experiences that bring people together and elevate their lives. Our values, the foundation of it all. These values have fueled our success to date and will propel us to new heights moving forward. Got it. Then you can browse through this, talk about quality, integrity, people. Okay, we got it. Now let's go to careers and see if we can find the benefits. How well do they take care of their employees? That's what we are looking for now. Thank you guys for tuning in. Please hit that like button. It helps out so much. And if you haven't done so already, please consider subscribing to the channel. Thank you in advance. Okay, culture and careers worth reaching for. What's building a career at Constellation Brands worth? Okay, we're just gonna browse over this. I'm looking specifically for the benefits. Benefits, inclusive culture. So they talk about their culture. They mention a mission again in there. Get started as a Constellation intern, facts, rewards, and policies. Stay in touch. I didn't see anything about benefits. So let me mouse over this. Job opportunities, life at Constellation, total rewards, and facts and policies. If I click on this, guys, I think it's just going to take us to different sections on this same website. It's taking a minute to load. I clicked on it. It is a hyperlink. It has not moved yet. It has not moved. Yeah, guys, it's not even moving. So I went up to careers, mouse down. It's just moving to different sections. Oh, okay, I see it. So I got to click it over here on the right. Learn more. Life of Constellation. Here we go. We read that. This looks like the same page. That doesn't look any different. Okay, careers, job opportunities, learn more. Now this brought up a different website. I'm gonna bring it over so you can see it. What we're hunting for, guys, I'm still looking for the benefits. This is my last attempt because I don't see anything on here about the benefits either. Okay, this is a whole long list of opportunities. So let's go ahead and go to the investors relations. Okay, so let's zoom in, blow that up. We already zoomed in. So latest financial results. Up here at the top, that's the old things we were looking at. Overview, news, events, company information. So here's the stock information. We're going to click on that in a second. Just let's browse over what we can see so far. They trade on the New York Stock Exchange. There's the ticker symbol, closing price, net price change, percentage change, the volume for today, trading volume, and things like that. So it looks like the stock quote is right here on this page. Latest financial results, email alerts, company overview, investor contact information. Okay, so let's go to stock data. So they have a quote and chart, historical data, dividend history. So they looks like they do pay a dividend. Let's go to quote and chart. So here we go. Here's the chart that they have available on their website. Here's the detailed stock information or the stock quote. They even have the after hours data. Okay, so we've seen that, and I told you they have other tools. So let's talk about what I found in my research about Constellation Brands Incorporated. So Constellation Brands does have customers and partners that are listed in the S&P 500. Some notable names include Walmart Incorporated, ticker WMT, Target Corporation, ticker TGT, and Costco Wholesale Corporation, ticker COST. All right. So before we look at the charts, guys, let's talk about this. Remember, professionals trade from a computer, not a mobile device. Mobile trading apps are limited and don't have all the features that are available on full trading platforms. Now let's look at Constellation Brands on the charts. Here we go. Bam, 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 and one more. There we go. All right, so we have them pulled up, and we can take me off the screen momentarily. So here's their 52-week low. I'm gonna switch back to yellow. Please don't take forever. There we go. It did it faster this time. So here's their 52-week low, and that's not a 52-week low. Let's slow this down, guys. Let's slow this down. Right now, we are on a 10-year weekly chart. That is not the 52-week low. Okay, so we need to go to the 1-year daily chart. There it is. 1-year daily chart, New York Stock Exchange, Constellation Brands. All right, now here is their 52-week low of $126.45. Here's their 52-week high of $178.14. Here's today's candle. And we're not going to start with the price levels right now on the 1-year daily chart. We're going to go back to the 10-year weekly chart and see if we can find some levels there. So historically, let's do some price levels. Let's do some price levels. All right, guys, this price level right here. Come on, tool. Here we go. Price level. I'm going to put it right here on the bottom of this week. So we're looking at a 10-year weekly chart. I want to move a little bit faster tonight, guys. It's hot. So I want to move a little bit faster. So we're not going to do a zone in some cases, but we're going to just use the price level to get an idea of what's going on and what I'm seeing. Okay. Now, with this being a 10-year weekly chart and the price action is right here. This is this week's candle. We only got one more day left, just in case you didn't know where it slipped your mind. The market is closed Friday, not tomorrow, Friday. They're closed Friday in observance of July 4th. So they got the market closed on July 3rd. So the market will not be open on Friday. So we got one more day to form this week's candle. So that's what I just pointed out on the chart. Now, these price levels that Constellation Brands is trading at now, guys, they haven't been this price level since 2016. So on the 10-year daily chart, we can see that right here. Okay. Now, if we look over here, this is where the price is trading at right now. So we're going to put a price level based on what we have back here. So let me pull up that tool. Bam. Here's a price level. So that's at $144. This week, they're down here already. They're below that. So that's below what it was trading in 2016 back here. Now we can see that in 2020, it came all the way down to a 10-year low of $104.28. The 10-year high is $274.87 on that weekly candle. There we go. And it looks like it tested that price level a couple of times. It tested it here. And that was about 3 weeks. I know that's small, guys. And then it was about 3 weeks over here. Okay. Coming up to around that $275 price point. So it has a hard time getting above that. Now, if I was to put another price level here, it would be around here. So we can see that it responded to that price level here about 4 times as resistance. Different weeks inside of 2022. It held as resistance here at the beginning of 2024. It held as resistance in 2024 towards the end of the year. What month is that? That's in September. Okay. And then it sold off since 2024. It looks like it found a bottom at the end of 2025. And that would be near November. Those weeks bottomed out around $126.45. It's recovered since then, getting above this $100.59. $159.80. I said that way too fast. Okay. So that's what I'm seeing there. Let's zoom in on what's going on for this week. And I'm going to put me back on the screen because we just focus on this end for this 10-year weekly chart. All right. So let's zoom in. This is where we are right now. So here's this week's candle. And what I'm looking for is this simple moving average. So this is a 9-week simple moving average. Is this dashed green line. So this week's price is still trading below that 9-week simple moving average. And then here's the 200-week simple moving average, the dashed white line. So it's trading below both of those moving averages. We have our levels for support based off the weekly candles. If I was going to put one more level of resistance, it would be right here at the top of this candle over here. And I'll show you why in 1 second once we get the price level there. These two candles look like a double top to me, but it's trending sideways. So like this is a sideways trend. So a double top is something you're going to look at in an uptrend, like that's going to form in an uptrend. So that's not a double top because this is a sideways trend. So that's consolidation and it broke to the downside and it didn't break hard. It just looked like it started trending sideways at a lower price point. Okay. And then it looked like it was consolidating over here. It went up to a higher level and now it seemed like it's coming back down to a lower level in a consolidation range. It's still trending sideways. And now that I mention it, this looks like consolidation as well. And then it dropped down. Okay. So we looked at the 10-year weekly chart. Now let's go to our 1-year daily chart and see what we got going on. Okay, guys, I immediately see a support and resistance line. So let me take me off the screen and let me show you what I'm seeing. So right here, the low of that candle. And that's where the price closed at today. So right here, we can see that it held as support here. It held as support here. It held as support here. It held as resistance here for a couple of days on that price level of $136.91. And today's candle closed right around that price point. Okay, so as far as looking for another area of support, guys, I'm going to look at these lows right here. Okay, these lows right here. So bam. Now, why did I choose that? I'm glad you asked. I chose it because here it held as resistance. And then once it got above it, it held as support for these 3 days over here. Over here, it held as support for a few days, that price level of $131.50. So I'm seeing that as the next level of support. And then below that, I'm looking at 126.45. Far as resistance, you got resistance at the 9-day simple moving average, the dashed green line, resistance at the 200-day simple moving average, the dashed white line. And then this price level looks significant as well, but it's on the body of this candle. This is tight. That's a range, guys. I'm not going to get away with just doing a line on this one. We can if we use this one, if we use that. So it's a psychological level of $150. Okay. So let me show you what I mean. Over here, it rolled that $150 as support for look like a few weeks. Then over here, $150 held as support. It held here as resistance, held here as resistance. Here's resistance. It got slightly above it, but it's holding that resistance at $150. And that's the price level that I have. So based off of what I'm seeing, those are my technicals. So let's go ahead and zoom in and get the stock quote for Constellation Brands. All right. So let's do that. Zoom in. Bam. Make this a little bit bigger. We can do that. We can make it even bigger. There we go. So let's go ahead and get the stock quote for Constellation Brands for today. So let me cut on my floating data box. Here we go. Constellation Brands opened today at $142.76. They had a high of $144. They had a low of $134.33. And they closed today at $136.88, which was a trading range of $9.67. $9.67 was the trading range. Now, when we go down and look at the volume, guys, they traded 4.5 million shares of this stock today. So let's cut off the floating data box, take me off the screen, and let's look at what the average daily trading volume is for Constellation Brands. So right over here, the average trading volume, guys, is 2.4 million in a daily trading session. And today they did 4.5, so roughly double of what they do on average. So that's this red candle right here. And then on Tuesday, volume was slightly higher, coming in at 4.6 million shares traded on this candle that looks like a hammer. But we were able to close lower than the body of the previous daily candle. Okay, so that looks bearish. That looks bearish. Yeah, it looks bearish. Found support at that price level we got from our 10-year weekly chart at $136.91 though. Let's take that arrow off the chart, off the screen. Yeah, you couldn't even see it. But anyway, let's move on. Let's talk about the volume rank percentile. So out of the most recent 252 trading days, guys, only 13 of those days had higher volume than today. That's what we're looking at right there. Only 13 of those days had higher volume than today. The volume rank percentile. So what this means right here is that out of the most recent 252 trading days, today's volume was higher than 94.8% of those trading days volumes. Okay. So we got it. And this is the day following earnings, and the earnings were announced. Wasn't announced before market open or after market open. It's not telling me. Give me a second. Let me see what this is. Yeah, they were released after market. So today would be the response to the earnings. And the volume was less than what it was the day before earnings were. Not before earnings. Yes, before the earnings were announced. So the earnings were announced yesterday, but it was announced after the market closed. So today we should have seen a spike in volume from people responding, or traders, the institutions, all of that responding to those earnings. It did open above the 9-day simple moving average, but selling pressure pushed it down, guys, to find support. So that's what we see in there. All right, let's go ahead and move on. We got that. Bam. We spent a lot of time on that one, but we done. Let's move on. All right, here we go. Community support. Back to the community. I would appreciate it very much if you guys share the stream, hit the like button, subscribe, and if you wish to send a monetary gift to support the content, Cash App and PayPal links are down in the description, as well as on the ticker on the screen. All right. So S&P 500 index. Let's look at what the S&P 500 index did today by using the SPY ETF. This ETF gives investors an opportunity to participate in the broader U.S. market by allowing them to own a percentage of each company in the S&P 500 index. So let's go back to the charts. Here we go. Bam, bam. S&P 500 index. There we go. Take that off and we got it. We need to put that one. There we go. All right. So let's go up here to the symbol box after we get this cursor going again. There we go. Symbol box. We're going to type in SPY. Oh, here we go. All right. Take me off the screen. The SPY has a 52-week low of $615.52. That's what we got down over here. Over here. Come on now. There we go. All right. And a 52-week high of $760.40 over there. And it looks like it's trading right now above where it closed at today. So right now it's trading for $747 and it closed today at $745.76. That's what I'm seeing over there. Just noticed it blinking and moving around. So let me put me back on the screen and let's zoom into the price action of what happened and what's going on today. Okay, getting the mouse and everything together. Let's get this cursor and stuff. All right, so let's zoom in. on the price action for today. It's gonna take a minute to adjust this chart, guys, but we gonna take care of it. I know it's a bunch of price levels over here too. I know it's a bunch of price levels. We're gonna figure it out. We're gonna get it together. Okay, guys, the cursor is jammed up. So give me a second. Give me a second. I'm gonna have to reset this, guys, because it's acting up. It is acting up. It's acting a plum fool. All right, what is it saying now? Okay, we're good. Let's not worry about it. All right, here is, let's adjust this a little bit more. Just bear with me. Please bear with me. I got to find out what that is. Something is causing that program to be delayed. Like it's acting stupid. This is bothering me. Let me try to reset this, guys. Control Alt Delete, Task Manager, Epic Pen, EP, Epic Pen. I'm gonna go ahead and shut this down, and I'm gonna relaunch it and see if this fixes the problem, because I don't want this to slow the show down any more than it already has. So let's just relaunch it and see what happens. All right. Thank you for being patient. I just want to make sure we're doing this right, because I want you to be able to track this cursor smoothly. I don't want it to be a mess. Let's leave it all the way over here. Maybe that's part of what's going on. All right. Looks like it's working better. I don't know what happened, but anyway, let's go. So here's our candle for today. Looks like a spinning top, guys. Looks like a spinning top. It closed near where it opened at today. That's why the body is small. It closed above the support level that we have over here on the charts at $744.44, and it closed below this area of resistance at $749.88. So that's telling me like the price is moving sideways. Okay, so what is catching my attention about what's happening with the SPY? Even though it looks like the price didn't move, the leaders today, like the big information technology companies that everybody been going crazy about, and then we'll talk about it, but those took a hit today. Some of them lost more than 10%, but other sectors started performing well today, which is what we're going to talk about. So that balanced it out. That's why we don't see a big red candle, because other sectors performed well while information technology performed bad. Okay, that's part of what's going on. So that didn't bring the average cost of the SPY down. So it's kind of moving sideways. But those big companies, they went down. We already have our technicals done. I said what I needed to say about that. So let's go ahead and pull up our floating data box. And let's get the quote for the SPY. So the SPY opened today at $745. They had a high of $749.44. And they had a low of $742.38. And they closed today at $745.76, which was a trading range of $7.06. Now, when we look at the trading volume, guys, they traded 47.1 million shares of this ETF today. So let me cut off my floating data box. And I didn't mention something, so let me cover that now. It's still trading above the 200-day simple moving average. And then let me show you this. I said that wrong. It's still trading above the 9-day simple moving average. This right here. So the 9-day simple moving average is trading at $739.42. That's the level that it's at right there. Now, if I go down here, let me get this together. The 200-day simple moving average is down at the $691.87 level. That's that dashed white line right there. All right, now let's talk about the volume. So let's take me off the screen. And here we go. The average trading volume for the SPY in a daily trading session is 73.3 million shares in a daily trading session. And today, guys, they did 47 million, which is below the volume they had on yesterday's candle. So this is Tuesday's candle that I just pointed at. And that volume was 55.6 million. So they traded about 8 million shares less than they did yesterday based off of what they traded today. But both days are below average volume. Okay. So that's what we're seeing there. Now, let me put me back on the screen and let's talk about the volume rate percentile. So out of the most recent 252 trading days, guys, today's volume is only higher than 26 of those days. So 26 days are below today's volume when it comes to the most recent 252 trading days. Now we can get a real good idea what that means by this percentage. So today's volume is only higher than 10.3% of those most recent 252 trading days volumes. Very low, very low. Okay. So let's go ahead and move on. We can go here. Let's move on. Wrong camera. There we go. And we take that off, go here. All right. Sector rotation tracker. Time to follow the money. Let's look at each sector inside the S&P 500 index to see how they performed today, guys. So let's go back to the charts. I'm excited because this is something new we're doing to see how and where this money is moving to. So now we can go a little deeper on what I was saying about the information technology sector and the other sectors that perform well today. So let's go to rotation tracker, and I updated this. So it already has the 1 day set. So we're just looking at the performance for these different sectors today. Okay. So the SPX, the S&P 500 lost 0.2% today. So they're down 0.2%. Energy is down 0.6%. Materials are up 0.4%. Industrials are down 1%. Consumer discretionary is up 0.7%. Consumer staples is up 0.3%. Healthcare is up 0.6%. Financials are up 2.2% today. Information technology is down 2.6% today. Communication services are up 2.4% today. Utilities are down 1.3%, and real estate is up 0.3%. All right, so let me pull this up and I'm gonna tell on myself. So yesterday when I read this, I accidentally said that the wrong sector. I think it was consumer discretionary was the biggest gainer yesterday, but it was actually real estate. So I corrected it down in the comments on that video yesterday. But another way to make sure that this doesn't happen again, I have notes that we're going to pull up on the screen. So here we go. So when it comes to the index, the ticker for that SPX, the S&P 500 index, is down 0.2% today. When it comes to the different sectors, the biggest gainer, now this is the State Street Global Advisors ticker for the communication services sector inside the S&P 500 index. And that's the biggest gainer for today. Communication services are up 2.4%. The biggest loser is the State Street Global Advisors ETF for the information technology sector inside the S&P 500 index, ticker XLK. They're down 2.6% today. So now with these notes and doing it that way, this will make sure that I don't mess up like that again. So so let's close that out and let's go talk about something else. Let me figure out where I am with this because this is new. So I need to figure out how we gonna do this. All right, there we go. I didn't put that up. Let's go. All right, now let's look at the S&P 500 biggest gainer and loser of the day, the actual companies. We looked at the sectors. Now we're gonna look at the companies. Matter of fact, let me go ahead and fix this. All right. And first, we're going to look at the loser so we can end the night on a high note. We're going to look at the loser first. We're going to look at the loser company first. All right. So let's go back to the charts. Here we go. Put that there. Bam, bam. We're going to go over to the Market Watch tab. Let's condense all this. I was doing all of that before we did the live stream. We're going to go over the quotes. We do have the S&P 500 index pulled up right over here. We can see that S&P 500 index watch list pulled up. And we do have the biggest loser pulled up. I just highlighted it. Let me pull their ticker up. So the biggest loser for today is ticker GLK. GLW, Corning Incorporated. Now, what's interesting about this is that I believe this week we already covered GLW and they were the biggest gainer. And now, not too long afterwards, they're the biggest loser. So we're going to dig into this a little bit and find out what's going on. At least we're going to try to figure out what's going on. We're going to try to figure that out. So they lost 13.62% today. The previous close was $255.43, and they closed today at $220.63. Guys, while we're here, I want to point something out to you. We're looking at the biggest losers, right? And then we're going to do a hypothetical when we're going to move on, but I want you to pay attention to something. Here are the sectors for the biggest losers today. I'm going to stop right here. Look at how many of those sectors are in the information technology sector. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So out of 21, 17 of those are all information technology, guys. And the loss for today, all of them lost 5% or better. 5%, 6%, 7%, 8%, 9%, 10%, 11%, and 13%. Information technology, the leader all this time. That is a red flag to me. I was talking about this on Wednesday. I think the information technology, I know this is only one day. Don't get me wrong, but losing 13% in one day, 11% in one day, 10% in one day, 9% in one day, 8% in one day, that's a big deal. That's a big deal. Okay, so I wanted to point that out. Let's go ahead and do a hypothetical. We're going to see this a little bit more as we dig a little bit deeper about what's going on with the information technology sector and possibly following where the money is moving to. Like what other sectors are doing well while information technology seems to be pulling back or reversing. Like they're pulling, how can I put this? They're rotating. Institutions are rotating their funds out of that sector because it's overvalued. That's what I think is going on. But anyway, let's do this hypothetical and then we can move on. Pull up the calculator. Here we go. So today we're going to use, let's say $4,500. So if somebody invested $4,500 and they got that 13.62% loss, they lost 13.62%. We're going to negate that, turn it into a decimal. So they would have lost $612.90 of their $4,500 investment. We add the $4,500 back to it, and it'll tell us how much money they would have had left. They would have had $3,887.10 left of their $4,500 investment. Bada boom, bada bing. We already have Corning Incorporated selected, so we're going to go over to the Analyze tab, and here we go. We see that ticker GLW, Corning Incorporated, is in the information technology sector. So we're going to see how that sector performed today, that industry performed today, and the sub-industry performed today that Corning Incorporated is located inside of. All right, so let's go over here to the Market Watch tab, and then we're going to go to the Visualize sub tab. Now, here we are in the S&P 500 index on the heat map. So what we're going to do, we're going to go right here inside the information technology sector. Now we're going to look at different industries. Guys, the semiconductor and equipment industry is right here. Everything is red. Do you hear me? Everything. In the semiconductors, let me back up. So if we back up and go to information technology, the semiconductors and semiconductor equipment industry. Now, once we go inside of there are two sub industries. You have semiconductors as a sub industry, and you have semiconductor materials and equipment as an industry. It's going to be over here, this highlighted section here. Everything is red except Texan. So Texan and on. So I stand corrected. So Texan, TXN, ticker TXN is up 0.11%. very small gain. Owens is up 0.10%, very small gain. Another way to say that is 0.1%. And then ticker TXN is up 0.11%. That's a better way of saying it. All right. So something else I want to look at when we exit this and we go back to information technology sector, right over here, guys. This is the technology, hardware, storage, and peripherals industry inside the information technology sector. This is the other one that's been running real hot this year. So you got SanDisk, Dell, Seagate, Western Digital, HPE, SMCI. All of those are red. You only got 3 greens. So ticker NTAP, ticker HPQ, and ticker AAPL. So basically Apple, NetApp Incorporated, and HP Incorporated. All right. So let's go back to the Analyze tab. And I'm already off the screen. So let's talk about this before we go to Corning's Incorporated website. Here's the link to their website. It's also down in the description for your convenience. Let's read a little bit about this and then we can go to the website. Corning Incorporated operates in optical communications, display, specialty materials, automotive, and life sciences businesses in the United States, Canada, Mexico, Japan, Taiwan, China, South Korea, Germany, and internationally. Got it. Now let's go to their website. Here we go. There's Corning's website. Put me back on the screen. Take that disclaimer off. We got their ticker. We're good. All right. Now, here's About Us right at the top of the screen. We're going to go there. And here's Careers. And I believe Investor Relations is going to be at the bottom of the screen. So let's read over their website. And then we'll go to those links. All right. For 175 years, Corning has combined its unparalleled expertise in glass science, ceramic science, and optical physics with deep manufacturing and engineering capabilities to develop life-changing innovations and products. Got it. Got it. Explore Corning Investors Relations. Why invest? Why invest? Corning applies its differentiated and distinctive capabilities to invent and make category-defining highly engineered products, drive profitable and durable growth, and create long-term value. Got it. Explore the ways Corning impacts life. Advanced optics, Corning Gorilla Glass, display glass, environmental technologies. The extrusion process. Illuminate the past and explore the future of innovation. All right, now we're at the bottom of the page. So here's About Us. We're going to go there. Here we go with careers. So they have this broken down in different sections. So we're going to go to our values and we're going to attempt to find their benefits. So let's go ahead and go to About Us. I'm stalling a little bit because I don't see investor relations up here. I did see it. It's under About Us. I saw it. All right. So our company, put me back on the screen. Our values is over here. Corning is vital to progress in the industries we shape and in the world we share. Who we are, what we do, where is Corning? Okay, and they're in New York. We talked about that the last time we covered them last week. Solving the toughest problems in optics, or was earlier this week, one of the two. Their history, got it. All right, so let's quickly go to our values. Quality, integrity, performance, leadership, innovation, independence, the individual. Remember, links are down in the description if you want to browse a little bit slower and go over what's going on their website. I want to move a little fast because we're spending a lot of time on this stuff. All right. So let's go to career resources, job application, data privacy notice, about protecting your information, life at Corning, employee resource groups, early career programs, search careers, compensation and benefits. We found it. There we go. All right. Compensation and benefits, total rewards, compensation, benefits. We value our employees and are committed to providing tools and programs that can help you get healthy and stay healthy, achieve financial security, and find the right work-life balance. Corning's philosophy around employee benefits is consistent globally, even though the actual benefits provided differ by country. Guys, it looks like they're real vague about that, but at least we found out where it was. Now, here's investor relations. It's right under About Us. So here we go. Let's get ready to wrap this up so we can go over to the charts right after I tell you what I found out in my research about the company. All right. So we're going to browse over this. Here's the stock info. Let's browse over the page and then we'll come back to that. Corning applies its differentiated and distinctive capabilities. We talked about that. All right, here are some different things about the company, some stats, foundation of long-term success, latest news, events, latest quarterly reports, governance, investor contacts, investor email alerts. Got it. So let's go up here to stock info. So they have the stock quote, chart, historical quote, investment calculator, and it looks like they pay a dividend because they talk about the dividend history. Here's the stock quote information. Here's the chart they have available on the website. So we see what they got. We can move on. Here we go. Now, let's talk about it. Corning Incorporated, ticker GLW. When it comes to their goods and services, they manage material science manufacturing across the optical, communications, mobile consumer electronics, and automotive emissions markets, offering solutions such as 1, complete optical connectivity options, including, here we go, it overheated. So let's switch the camera. We're prepared, guys. So give me 1 second. Let's switch this over. Bear with me. Cut that off, let it cool down. I knew it was coming. So we are going here. Yep, there we go. All right, now, because we're using a backup camera, guys, I'm not gonna be looking at the camera while I'm reading the prompter, but at least you can see me, okay? So let's go ahead and keep it moving. We were at number 1, complete optical connectivity options, including high density fiber cables and photonics hardware for hyperscale data centers. Got it. Now, number 2, scalable specialty glass products, including damage resistant Gorilla Glass, semiconductor wafers, and substrate materials for manufacturers. Number 3, and optimized substrate engineering systems tailored for particulate filter systems, life sciences vessels, and solar wafer applications. Looking at their S&P 500 customers and partners, notable names include Amazon.com, ticker AMZN, Meta Platforms Incorporated, ticker META, and Apple Incorporated, ticker AAPL. Got it. Now let's go to the charts. Bam, bam. Then we go here. Now, when we switch, I already got it set up, so we good. There we go. Man, see, you just got to be prepared. And I told you what was going to happen before it happened. So we good. We had a backup, boy. We all cold. That boy good. That boy good. So we got it together. Now, we are looking at a 10-year weekly chart. So let's start off with the 1-year daily, and then we'll work our way backwards. So the cool thing is, since we already covered this company, I was looking at the wrong one. Since we already covered this company, we already have some technicals on the screen. So they hit a new 52-week high. Let me take me off the screen. So here we go. They have a 52-week low. Corning has a 52-week low of $51.32. They have a new 52-week high of $271.78. Okay. Now, I chose this area right here. Let me zoom in. I chose this area right here to put as a level of resistance because I believe that was the previous 52-week high. I really don't want to put a price level up here yet because it gapped down. So to me, that's more significant right now than identifying this price level. But just for kicks and giggles, I know what I said. I'll do it anyway. So that's the previous 52-week high. That's definitely going to be resistance, but it got to get above this $258.80 before we even worry about that previous 52-week high. Here's the other thing, guys, this right here. So it gapped down. Let me put me back on the screen. So it gapped down. So we're going to make this yellow because that easily identifies our gaps on my charts. We're going to take this over to December 1st. There we go. Now we need some price levels so we know what the bottom of that gap is and the top of that gap. So the bottom of the gap is $240.87. The top of the gap is $250.50. Now remember, that's a round number, so that's a psychological number that people respond to, $250. All right. Now it closed just above the 9-day simple moving average. It's trading above the 200-day simple moving average, which is all the way down here. So let me zoom in. You drag this over. So right here, it closed just above the 200-day simple moving average. The price level for the simple moving average is, let me make sure this is right, guys. Yeah. The price level is $220.61. That's the price level for the 9-day simple moving average. Okay. So that's what we have there. Then we have this support zone that the price is above right now. The top of that support zone is $215.13. The bottom of that support zone is $208.92. So if it gets through that 9-day simple moving average, here's my support zone. If it gets through that, then it got to get through this support zone right here. And you can't see what those price levels are. So I'm going to open it up for you so you can see it, but I'm not going to put the lines on the screen. So pause it. You can go ahead and pause it and see what those levels are. The bottom of that zone is $189.38. The top of that zone is $191.59. So that's what's on that zone. Okay. Now we can go ahead and do our stock quote for Corning. So go up to the settings, cut on my floating data box. What time is it? We're going on 12. All right. So Corning opened today at $239.50. They had a high of $240.87. They had a low of $218.11, and they closed today at $220.63, which was a trading range. I'm looking at the wrong camera, which was a trading range of $22.76. The volume, guys, they traded 22.3 million shares of this stock today. So let's cut off the floating data box and take me off the screen, and we're going to look to see what the average trading volume is for Corning. Okay, so right here, the average trading volume is 9.7 million, guys. So they did 2 times what they normally do, more than 2 times what they normally do. So they did 22.3 million a day. They did 22.7 million on Monday. Wait a second. Did that on Monday. Something popped up on my screen. Come on. What is that? Give me a second. Okay. So that was this candle right here. This candle had more volume than the red candle. The volume for the green candle up here was 22.7 million. Today's was 22.3. So the volume decreased, but you had a bigger body candle, selling pressure to the downside. Okay, now we can put me back on the screen. Let's talk about the volume rank percentile. So out of the most recent 252 trading days, guys, only 9 of those days had higher volume than today. Okay, and out of the volume rank percentile, out of the most recent 252 trading days, guys, today's volume was higher than 96.4% of those trading days when it comes to volume. Got it. Now we can move on. Let's go back to the market watch tab. Condense all of this. Let's just condense all that. Go back to S&P 500. I don't need to do all that. We're good. So we're going to go over here to the quotes sub tab. And now we can go to the biggest gainer. So the biggest gainer for today, guys, is ticker AAP, AppLovin Corporation. So they went up 9.58% today. The previous close was $515.23. They closed today at $564.61. Now, remember what we had did before. We were looking at the sectors for the biggest losers. So now let's look at the sectors for the biggest gainers. Wouldn't you know it? Information technology is in this list as well. Okay. But I am seeing financials, communication services, consumer staples, financials, information technology, financials, healthcare, information technology, financials, information technology, healthcare, information technology, industrials, communication services, consumer staples, information technology. Okay. So we see more of a mix when it came to the gainers. But when it came to the biggest losers, the majority of those was clear as day. I'm looking at the wrong camera. I look blind. The majority of those were information technology. The majority of them. This is more mixed, and you have a few information technologies in here as well. And the gains range from, I already deleted it, from 5% up to 9%, 9.58%, which was the gainer that we talked about. So let's do the hypothetical, and then we're going to look at the visualize tab. So let me go ahead and pull up my calculator. So we use 4,500. So if somebody got that 9.58% gain, so we turn that into a decimal, they would have gained $431.10, and then we add that to the $4,500 initial principal, and that total investment would have grown to $4,931.10. Got it. Now let's move on and go over to the Analyze tab. And we still had the wrong company pulled up. That's because we didn't actually click on this and highlight it. My apologies, but here we go. Go back to the Analyze tab. So here we go. AppLovin is in the information technology sector, but it could be in a different industry and a different sub industry. So let's go over there and check that out to check its performance. So we go back over to the Market Watch tab, go to the Visualize tab. Now, I know what I said, so we are going to do that, but I also want you to see something else. So let's go back to the whole S&P 500 index. This is what I want you to see. Looking at the wrong camera right here. Guys, look at how financials perform today. Here's financials. There's almost everything is green. The only red that I'm seeing is Berkshire Hathaway, and they were down 0.13%. Everything else, it didn't matter what industry it was inside of. You got the financial services industry, banks industry, insurance industry, consumer finance industry, capital markets industries. All of those industries performed excellent, performed well, like as far as like green. It was one company out of all of those that ended up being red on the day. So finance as a sector did extremely well. Then we looked over there, we had seen healthcare, and then we had seen communication services. So let's look at healthcare. Healthcare is kind of mixed, but this in particular industry looks majority green. So that's healthcare providers and services, life sciences, tools and services. That looks majority green. And this looks majority green. It's like two reds out of that, but that's healthcare. Let's back it up. That's healthcare equipment and supplies. That's what industry that is. Okay, now I want to look at, we said one more, and then we're going to go to information technology. Communication services. So here we go. Communication services. You got some red in there. They're smaller market caps, but Netflix was finally green over here in the entertainment industry inside the communication services sector. Then you have diversified telecommunications. They look like all of those are red. So you got Comcast, AT&T, and Verizon. So back this up, communication services. Yeah, but media, majority of that is green. So media is the industry inside the communication services sector. The only one that looks like it's red is, well, no, it doesn't look like it's red. It is red. Is Charter Communications, ticker CHTR. All right, so let's go ahead and get back to where we need to be. So let's go to information technology, and we are looking for AppLovin. So AppLovin is in the software industry inside the information technology sector. So now that we're inside this industry, AppLovin is in the application software sub industry. Okay, and all of that is green. So that in particular sub industry inside the information technology sector, all of that's green. They had a really good day. Okay, so this is probably the information technology companies we saw in the list when we were looking at the watch list over here. See ServiceNow right here. Where's another one? EPAM, Palantir. So I know Palantir was one of them. It's right here. It's right here. The other ones I read are not in this sub industry. But okay, let's go back to the Analyze tab now. Before we go to AppLovin's website, here's their company profile. Remember, links to their website is down in the description for your convenience. Here's their website. Now let's read a little bit about the company. AppLovin Corporation provides end-to-end artificial intelligence powered advertising solutions for businesses in the United States and internationally. Got it. Let's go to their website. There we go. AppLovin, put me back on the screen. There we go. We have the right disclaimer there. Yes, we do. All right. So monetize and learn. So under learn, there we go. We got about, we got careers, and we got investors. They made it super easy. Looking at the wrong camera. They made it super easy. I'm loving it. All right. So we're about to browse over their website, and then we're going to start clicking on those links. Let's get you in front of 1 billion customers for consumer brands, for gaming apps, the whole screen every time. This is an advertising business, I believe. Transforming businesses for over a decade. Look at all this different stuff. Oh my goody goodness. All right, so we're at the bottom of the page. Can you see? Yes, it's over here to the left. So let's go to About. We grow businesses profitably. AppLovin empowers people to build businesses bigger than they ever imagined. Great products win. Performance, not pitches. Built for any size business. The math has to work. So they talk about the different things that I just browsed over. Remember, links to the website are down in the description for your convenience. Looking at the wrong camera again. AppLovin was founded in 2012 by a handful of performance marketers with an $8 domain. Got it. Big business. What we've accomplished. So here's the history about the company. You can browse through it. They had an arrow over here to keep disappearing when I want to click on it. Oh, you can't do it. Okay. Want to join the team? See open roles. All right. Blog, investors, and leadership. Now we want to go to careers. We are looking for the benefits, guys. Let's find the benefits. Grow without limits. See open roles. Our culture. We value people who care deeply about what they put into the world. People who push ideas forward, solve problems collaboratively, and raise the standard for their team. Okay, here are a bunch of different things they do. Or they talking about how they go about their business. Products first, always pursue excellence, challenge the status quo, speed wins, never stop hustling, lead by doing. Here are the benefits, guys. So we can go ahead and go to investor relations. Woo! You can look at that. We're not going to read all of that. We found it. We found it. That lady is happy with that dog. So we got it. Engineering internship. All right. All open positions. All right. This list just keep going. Here we go. Investors. Here we go. We about to wrap it up. We zoomed in. Yeah, we're good. Stock information right here at the top. To click on that, they trade on the NASDAQ. There's the ticker, closing price for today, net price change, percentage change, etc., etc. News, events, things like that. All right, so let's go to stock information. Here's their stock quote. Here's the stock chart. I'm so glad this stuff is not taking forever to load up today. There's everything they have on the website. Now, remember, I'm not looking at the camera for the prompter, so just bear with me. So let's go here and let me talk about what I found about the company. So turn this back this way. Here we go. So AppLovin Corporation, ticker APP. Ticker APP. When it comes to their goods and services, they manage mobile marketing technology across digital advertising, mobile gaming, and global e-commerce markets, offering solutions such as, number one, complete app discovery marketing options, including automated machine learning optimization and custom campaign targeting tools for mobile application developers. Number two, scalable max publisher products, including real-time unified bidding, programmatic ad auctions, and integrated adjust analytics tools for mobile software publishers. And number three, an optimized Axon computing systems tailored for predictive user acquisition, performance-driven digital advertising, and cross-channel marketing automation. Looking at their S&P 500 partners, customers and partners, notable names include Meta Platforms, ticker MET, Meta Platforms Incorporated, ticker META. Alphabet Incorporated, ticker GOOGL. I was about to spell Apple. And Take-Two Interactive Software Incorporated, ticker TTWO. All right, now let's go back to the charts. So we go here, and we go here. Bam. All right, now that we got the charts pulled up, we put that disclaimer there, and then we can go do our technical analysis. So we have looked at this company before, which makes the technical analysis a lot easier to do. Take me off the screen. Here we are looking at a 1-year daily chart. 1 year daily, 52-week high of $745.61. 52-week low, 52-week low of $325.58. Okay. And guys, they look like they've been making a nice little run right here since they made this hammer down here on what day? That was June 25th. Okay. They've been on a nice run to the upside. They closed above the 9-day simple moving average right here. And today they closed above the 200-day simple moving average. So what we want to pay attention to, we want to pay attention to the volume. And we already had price levels on here, and we can see that it's responding to those price levels. This candle wasn't able to close below that price level of $433.59. This candle came back to test the 9-day simple moving average. Then once it closed above it, it actually closed above 2 areas of resistance. Let me put me on the screen and let me zoom in, because I'm going in. That's not what we want. Let's go here. Let's zoom in, and I'm gonna break down what I said again so we can walk through these levels that we had. Spread this out a little bit. All right. So with us already having some price levels on the chart, what I was saying was the price is actually responding to those levels that we already had on the chart. So I'm gonna walk you through what I'm seeing. Let me make sure I'm looking at the right camera. So this hammer formed at the bottom of a downtrend. Hammer came in and it gapped down. So gap down had the hammer. Now what makes this hammer significant? The price was pushed down below this resistance level of $433.59. Came all the way down here. Buyers stepped in. You had buyer pressure. So they were willing to pay on the ask. That drove the price up, and it was able to come back above that area of support and close on the day. Then the very next day, it opened right where it closed at, came down just a little bit, didn't actually touch that area of support, and then closed strong on the day after testing that 9-day simple moving average. It closed right below it. So the 9-day simple moving average for that day was $478.85. The closing price for that day was $477.08. The very next day, which was Monday, not the very next day, but the very next trading session was Monday. So that's this candle right here, June 29th. They opened and closed above the 9-day simple moving average and above this area of resistance at $487.59. So now that turns into support. The next candle, they opened and closed above that support, but below that area of resistance. Then the following day, so that's today, right? Wednesday, they opened above the area of resistance, pushed past the resistance of the 200-day simple moving average, closed well above it, and tested the next level of resistance at $569.92. So if this wasn't a master class in having price levels on the chart, I don't know what is. And this ain't no gimmicks, because you can go back and look at the previous live streams where we looked at this and we drew those levels in, because I haven't looked at AppLovin since then, but we can see that the price action now is actually responding to those price levels that we already put on the chart. So I don't really need to put anything else up here. The next level of resistance that I already have drawn on the chart is $610.58. Yep. I'm looking over here. I really don't see anything else to really put there. All right. So let's go ahead and get the stock quote for AppLovin. And then we can talk about the volume to add that into our technicals as well, our technical analysis as well. So AppLovin opened today at $532.94. They had a high of $574.75. They had a low of $521.93, and they closed today at $564.61, which was a trading range of $52.82. Now, when we look at the trading volume, guys, they traded 5.9 million shares of this stock today. So let's cut off the floating data box and go over here to look and see what the average trading volume is for AppLovin in a daily trading session. And guys, the average trading volume is 5.6 million shares in a daily trading session. And today they did 5.9. So that was slightly above average. And that's this big candle right here. Now, yesterday was this candle, of course, and the trading volume for that candle was 5.5 million shares. So we see an increase in volume for today's candle coming in at that 5.9. Okay, now let's put me back on the screen and let's talk about the volume rank percentile. Out of the most recent 252 trading days, guys, we have a nice little balance here. Only 81 of those days were higher than today's volume. 171 of those days were below today's volume. Now, when we look at the volume rank percentile is 67.9%, which means that the most recent 252 trading days, out of those, today's volume was higher than 67.9% of those trading days volumes. Got it. We got it. And we done. We did it. Even with the overheated camera, we did it. All right. And because of that, I believe the other camera is good. So let's go ahead and get that set up. And I'm going to talk to you while I do that, so we can do the closing with the regular camera and I can actually look directly into it and all that other good stuff and close the show out. See, man, you got to have a plan. That's all it is. Man, we did good. All right, take AppLovin off. Get that. Okay, take that off. Okay. Thank you guys so much for tuning in tonight. You already know. I hope that you learned something and I hope that you earned something. Thank you guys for joining me tonight. This Sunday, July 5th at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, we're reviewing this week's performance of the 11 sectors in the S&P 500 index, companies that stood out, notable market news, and performing a live Q&A so we can focus on building our community. And make sure you keep tuning in weekdays following a market trading session at 11 p.m. Eastern Time. Take care and God bless.